everyone to the final PSUCC open mic of the fall semester. We did it, yay. I think it's a very bittersweet moment for me right now, because not only is this the final PSUCC mic of the semester, this is my final PSUCC mic as a student. I'm graduating very soon. And yeah, please hold your applause, thank you. But it's a big change in my life. I have a job coming up. I'm told it's great. I think that the wages will offset the suicide for a couple of years, hopefully. But it's forced me to reevaluate a lot of things, and I think number one is my relationship with alcohol. Because I'm a firm believer that you can't really be an alcoholic while you're a student. I think it's totally okay if you want to like go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday and get like mimosas at brunch on Sunday. As long as you got 9 credit hours, totally okay, right? But the counter to that is I'm also a firm believer that there's absolutely no grace period after that. Like you should walk off that graduation stage directly into a 12-step program. Like you should be, as you're waiting to hear your name called, be able to look across the stage and see the chairs in a circle, smell the stale donuts and shit. Like imagine just walking up to Mitch Daniels as he shakes your hand and gives you a look of concern, hands you a diploma that has like an advertisement for an addiction specialist stapled to it. I think that'd be a better use for most advertisements today. I've been thinking about just advertisements in general recently, because I used to not. I didn't think much of them. Thought they were kind of dumb, easy, anyone can do it, you know, just sex sells, right? Put the logo and some titties up there, call it a day. But I've had to reevaluate that because I've started seeing bad advertisements. And I'm not talking like advertisements for bad things. Because if you see, you know, just a billboard that's like, build the wall and link to like trump.facebook.eagle or whatever, that's still like an advertisement. It gives you something to do. What I'm talking about is like just no direction. Like there's a billboard that maybe some of you have seen if you're coming in from the north on 65 to Purdue that just says, no fence, no jobs, just crime and drugs. And that's it. There's no direction given there. They just shackle you with this weird anger and expect it to fester until it becomes everyone's problem at Thanksgiving. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that would be a better ad, objectively speaking, if it was like more racist. Like, if it said like, oh, no fence, no jobs, just crime and drugs, blame the Mexicans or something. Like, that's at least a call to action. There is something to do there. It's horrible, but it's still a better act. I don't know, I think I've been seeing a lot of stuff too when it comes to that sort of misinformation, bad advertisements, misnomers. I saw this weird thread on Twitter. People were talking about how quicksand is kind of a misnomer because in reality, I guess it takes a couple hours to sink to a point where it'd be dangerous. And I thought about that and I was like, well, I mean, I guess, sure, but the point of reference is regular sand, where you don't sink, like, at all. So I think that's still pretty fucking quick, relatively speaking, but I don't know. I like that joke, fuck you guys. But the other day I was walking to class and I saw just in the grass off of the bike lane, I saw a possum that was playing possum. And I was like, oh, homie's out and about, he gets scared by people, just leave him alone, I go about my day. And yesterday, I'm walking around that same path, and he's still there. I see the possum again, and I was like, damn, this dude is committed to the bit. He's been out here for a week. And I don't know, maybe he's just got really, really bad social anxiety. This could be the most anxiety-riddled rodent this side of the fucking Wabash, but I don't know, I think that like, it's definitely the worst case that I've ever seen of that type of social anxiety, with the notable exception of what I see every time I look in the mirror, but I don't know. Well, that's all I got, everyone, but thank you very much for coming out.
Just pull it off. There you go.
There you go.
Alright, how's everyone doing tonight? Alright, recently a friend of mine told me something really interesting. He told me that I am now the Eminem of Indian people. If you know anything at all about that statement, you would know that that is a tremendous honor. I am happily accepting Team Curry. Anyways, any freshmen in the audience here tonight? Yeah. I know you're not studying for Engineering 131, but anyways, freshmen, you guys treat West Lafayette like a video game map. Let me explain. There are three main areas that you guys know. These are the only areas you guys know. There's campus, Chauncey, and Walmart. Basically, what happens is, if you walk from the Target trying to cross over to the Chase Bank, basically, it's almost as if you're going to walk into the restricted area of a Battlefield game. Like, you'll literally get a display that says, return to main area in 10, 9, 8, otherwise you'll die. Now, what you might be wondering is, do these people die and stay dead? No. Just like any normal first-person shooter, they respawn. Where do they respawn? Well, it depends on their gender, right? Men will respawn in Tarkington. The women will respawn in Meredith North. And obviously the non-binaries will respawn in the CS building. Yes, there was one day, I was talking to this one freshman, and he was talking to me about, like his struggles in Engineering 131. And I'm like, bro, I have a power-up for you. Let me send you a GroupMe link to Engineering 131 help. He was crying tears of joy after that. So definitely, you freshmen, I've been there, so I can say it. It's not discrimination. It's fun stuff. Definitely a lot of fun. I also, on an unrelated note, I had a basketball photo shoot of myself last Monday. And first of all, yes, I do get buckets from Meyer, so I can paint the lines on the court. Second of all, yes, the black basketball players do treat me with tremendous respect. They've never seen a white boy get buckets like me before, Never seen that before, so they treat me with tremendous respect, and it's, mutual. And then finally, I still haven't seen the new Thor movie yet. I don't know, I need to get on that. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And so, anyways, this photographer, right? I had no idea who she was, but she and I were texting back and forth, right? And she was wanting to get to know a little bit about my physical features, right? How light is my skin? I had no idea. I was like, it's white. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, that's better. So she also asked me, tell me a little bit about your physical features. Tell me a little bit about your facial features. Well, first of all, that's a really weird question to ask. But I'm like, you know what? I'll be a nice guy. I'll respond. And so I responded. I said that, well, first of all, you guys know how at metro stations they'll often say, mind the gap. I told her that describes my mustache. Second of all, I told her, my lips are so dry that people often get them mistaken for being exports from California. But anyways, I surprisingly have been red for 11 days now. I don't know what's up with that, but hey, at the end of the day, at least I still get buckets. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your night.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, good.
I gotta be honest, I'm in a pretty bad mood right now. For the last little while, I've been rethinking my life decisions, specifically the ones in middle school. This all started back when I went home for Thanksgiving break. My parents made me clean out my old room, that I've been in since childhood, and so I was in this dresser, right, this little drawer, and it had this little section that had like a gap in it, and in it I found hidden a little slip of paper. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is going to be something that's like formative from my childhood, right? Hallmark movie, here we come. Instead, it was this really shitty childhood Valentine that you get by the bulk. Like the ones that you get in like 100-pack that are just like, Super Mario wants to fuck. That you like give away at like to your Valentine's Day friends, right? And so it was from this girl I had a crush on in 4th grade. Where naturally I thought that a Valentine, that it was a picture of a lion that said, I ain't lying, you're the best, right? Signed as to whoever, was like some sort of forbidden love, like Costco was fucking Shakespeare. Like I can only imagine, like if we're going by that rule, like the kind of Valentine I would have written her. Naturally I wrote a sonnet. Something like, just like, my sweet, sweet, whatever the fuck your name was. Your smile shines brighter than 1,000 snack times, and your laugh sweeter than the gross Valentine's candy attached to this letter. It's a low bar. You make my heart sing a lighter song than our choir class. Again, probably a lower bar. And for us to have as joyous an ending as Romeo and Juliet. Mommy says I'm too young to read that, so I can only assume it ends well. So that's probably pretty close. But I will tell you, nothing, and I mean nothing about Valentine's Day makes me angrier than Cupid. Like, seriously, how the fuck am I supposed to trust my love life to some asshole in a diaper? Like, when was the key to long-lasting relationships some baby with his nips out in February? I don't want to word with the asshole who decided to give a baby a deadly weapon. Like, you're seriously giving the only angel who can't wipe his own ass do you seriously expect the only angel who can't wipe his own ass to have good enough hand-eye coordination to make the shot on target? And like middle school love, like depends on him exclusively. Just, by logic of this. Like, okay, let me walk you through this, right? Picture your mid-pubescent self, find someone who you're into from across the cafeteria, and your eyes meet through the dense fog of middle school BO. If you need a better simulation of that, just go to a CS lecture. Now, your first thought, I fucking guarantee this, God, I have to hide this and just never speak to them. Like you're hoping for the only angel who pisses himself on the regular to be your ticket in. Naturally, he's gonna miss the arrow and instead hit the lunch lady, which is actually better. God, I'm gonna fix him with those mashed potatoes. But we're in middle school here, right? So we're all gonna be in our emo phases. Naturally, Cupid has to be too. What does that look like, right? All I can imagine is a baby wearing a My Chemical Romance t-shirt and his eyes caked in really shitty eyeliner. Or like, what if he had a handgun instead of a bow? Like, imagine him dealing with recoil, one shot at one sat look, the single one, boom, there he goes. Never mind, that's American Cupid, my bad. But I remember my finest middle school dating faux pas, right? Where I spent one afternoon, on Google, obviously, looking up how to get a girl to like you. Which naturally led me to watch lessons from like really shitty pickup artists, because God knows I'm not going to ask my parents for advice on that. And so one of the greatest lessons I learned was to be suave and mysterious. Naturally, I took this the best way, and so anytime I would talk to her, right, anytime like she would look away at a random point in the conversation, I'd just run away. Maybe something like, hey guys, look at that commercial. And the thing is, it only got worse, right? Like for example, I started carrying like really large stacks of books everywhere in the hallway, like hoping someone would bump into me. Or the only other thing that I really didn't get to try that I learned from those videos was something called peacocking, which is to dress really stupid so everyone's like, oh wow, you look dumb, you must be really interesting. Problem is, middle school fashion sense, I already looked stupid and I was boring as hell. But I'm better now, right? Right? Anyway, that's my time, folks. Thanks so much.
Hello. Hi. It's been a very long time since I've done stand-up. It's been a very long time since I've seen you all. The same is true of my father. Yeah, so I'm sure there's no problem. There's a very long line at the cemetery. I was reading something online the other day and it really caught my eye. It was a woman in Wisconsin, and this woman's name is Marijuana Pepsi Van Dyke. That's her name. No, don't laugh, don't laugh. I mean, you know, I really don't want to make fun of her. I mean, she's gone through a lot in her life. You know, I'm proud of her. My issue is more with the people who would name their kid that in the first place. You know what I mean? Because the same thing is always said when someone has an interesting name like that, right? Oh, it's going to toughen them up, it's going to give them character. And I'm like, yeah, but you can kind of abuse that logic, right? If giving them some, you know, eccentric name that's going to catch their attention and make people bully them, right? If that's going to toughen them up, you can just go way too far with that, right? Like, you can just give them some heinous name like Hitler Mussolini, okay? Or Kanye West, like, reprehensible, like, you know what I mean? And also, I feel like there's easier ways to do that, right? You don't have to give them something that's going to stick with them for the rest of their life that they're never going to shed, all right? They use little doses of it, you know? Maybe every Sunday make them be a Bears fan, you know? There's easier ways to go about that, you know? But I don't know. The only question I had for her is she said that when she did not know that she had an interesting name until she was 9. And I'm like, what was going on through years 0 to 8? Like, who were your classmates? Like, were you just going to class with Xenon and Prometheus? Like, and then when people who have an interesting name like that, do they give their kids weird names too? Right? Do they continue the cycle of violence? Right? Like when Miss Van Dyke is deceased, is her obituary going to be like, and she is survived by her 3 grandchildren, drywall, milk, and venereal disease. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, bullying, and again, I don't want to bully her. You know, not great, cause a lot of mental health issues. We have a mental health crisis in this country, but I have a solution, all right? I do know one way we can fix it, specifically with men, all right? There is a very easy way to solve the male mental health crisis in this country, all right? And it's very simple. It's to give a man a compliment, okay? Because they will carry that shit with them for the rest of their lives, all right? And if you're a guy in here, like, you're smiling because you know it's true, all right? Do you remember the last time you were complimented? Right? You remember the exact date and where you were, because that's how infrequently it happens for us, all right? I have tried alcohol, I've tried weed, I've tried women, I might have tried guys, I don't know, it was really dark, all right? Nothing has improved my mental health as much as just a compliment from a total stranger, all right? I was in class one time. I was sitting next to my partner for this assignment, and we're just talking about the assignment or whatever, getting to know each other a little bit. Very just casual, mild conversation. She says, you know what, Kenny, I gotta tell you something. Your eyebrows have very nice texture to them, all right? And I still remember that, all right? That was my AP Gov class, okay? I'm still getting juice on a compliment from the Obama administration, all right? So that's just what we gotta do, okay? But that's all I got. Have a good night, everyone.
Hey everybody, so recently I found that fashion is kind of a hard thing to pull off. I've been trying to learn how to dress myself better, but it's really hard because there's so many rules you have to follow. And I've been trying not to give up, but I haven't had many occasions to dress myself well. Until very recently, my friend's funeral recently came up, and I thought to myself, this is the chance to step up my game. So, while everyone was wearing like black suits and dresses, I came in like with the Life is Good t-shirt. And I was like walking down an aisleway like a model, and everyone could not take their eyes off me. It was, some people were crying while they were looking at me. It was fucking awesome. So yeah, it was a pretty good start to my day. Recently, I found that parents are really scary people. I don't know what it is with them, but they just can switch personalities when they're around you and when they're around other parents. You know, they're like, hey, okay, Martha, why don't you go play with Sammy over there? I love you. I gotta talk to Marsha over here, okay? Okay, bye. Oh my gosh, Marsha, she's such a bitch. She peed her bed and she's 5 years old. What a fucking dumbass. Fuck. Anyways, going back on the recent joke, I actually recently got complimented while I was working a job, and it made my day. You see, I was working, and this one random lady, she came up to me and she was like, "You're that Japanese woman." Me? Yeah! Fuck yeah! And we like fist bumped, and it was like the most wholesome moment of my life. As far as like complimentary racism goes, like that's at the top of my list for sure. I think Cal teachers are being put to waste, you see. I think they need to be used for higher purposes. So I had this idea of using them to teach how babies are made. I think Cal teachers would be great at that. I know it sounds weird at first, but hear me out, okay? Because this is what it would look like if Cal teachers gave the talk. Okay, everybody, settle down. We got a long class ahead of us today. Gotta teach you the equation last time, which was sperm plus egg, which equals a whole lot of trouble. Anyways, can anybody tell me the answer to this equation? Timothy, how about you? That right arm looks like it's had a lot of experience. What about you, Lucy? Seems like you have had a lot of experience too. Come on, guys, that was a joke. Alright, that's all I got time for. Thanks.
Let's start with a quick poll. Audience, how many people here like comic sans?
Potentially.
Yes, we're not expecting that to happen. But who here thinks it should be banned? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. You know, the thing is, like, think about how that would go in court. You guys would probably lose really badly. So, just think about it. So, the judge would be like, alright, let the plaintiffs make their arguments. The plaintiff would be like, Your Honor, the font makes some people angry when used in the wrong context. Not only that, but it's also seen as aesthetically pleasing by individuals under the age of 8 and the deranged. And then the judge says, alright, let's hear the defendant's point of view. Here the defendant is the inventor of Comic Sans. I'm using a direct quotation from him. Dogs don't speak in Times New Roman. Yeah, so... You're like, okay. I went through a phase, I can't say a few years ago, a while back, and that phase I went through, I thought that pedophile was another way to say someone who has a foot fetish. And I was like, is pedophilia really that bad? When you really think about it, the thing pedophiles like, they have souls too. Like, you can't blame people for what they're into, especially if they're into stuff with 10 cute little toes. And I mean, who wouldn't be swept off their feet? When you tickle them in the streets. Anyways. Okay, so basically, Balenciaga's been under fire recently for child pornography. Well, they're endorsing child pornography in a few of their recent ad campaigns. And so basically, the first one, they depicted a child holding like a teddy bear with leather straps. The logical next step from that was how they dressed the teddy bear up. And then the second ad campaign had like a SCOTUS paper that incriminated child pornography and like basically said it was against the First Amendment. But I mean, it doesn't seem like Balenciaga is really doing that much, but I guess it kind of does seem like they're trying to put their foot down. trying to sue the production company, but yeah, I guess they're not taking full responsibility for it, so hopefully they put their best foot forward with that. Anyways, so speaking of things that were happening recently, the annual climate conference, COP27, have you heard of it? It just recently ended. It's been a lot of controversy about how there are about 636 fossil fuel representatives who showed up to that, and there were at least 33 that were rumored to lobby the actual official the leaders of the world who were actually there. And so I know what you're thinking. How could they have let this happen? And personally, the way I like to think about it is, it's kind of like a Christopher Columbus situation where there was they shipped these representatives off and they sailed in the right direction, but they ended up taking some random detour. They were supposed to go to a big oil convention, but they ended up in Greece instead of Egypt. They ended up in Egypt instead of Greece. And all of it doesn't explain why they ended up letting Coca-Cola. I think that basically was it.
Hello. Hello. How's everybody doing? Yeah. Good. I'm doing awful. I'm good. I mean, there's a lot of stress right now, with finals and everything, but for me, what's really hanging over my head is 2 weeks ago, I made a really big mistake. 2 weeks ago was my first open mic. My friend Nate and I came. Say hi, Nate. Hi. We came. We worked really hard beforehand. We were working on our set the whole week before. I was drinking up until the second I was on stage. And I remember when it was the night up, I came downstairs and all the comedians lined up beforehand to sort of get our talk. And I was really impressed with how diverse the crowd of comedians were. I mean, Nate and I were the only two guys there. So I was sitting right over there, where those people are, and I was waiting for my turn to go. And the host comes up and she goes, "Welcome everybody to Ladies' Night." And she kept going. She said, "It's not just going to be ladies performing tonight, but we are here because we're just tired of men in comedy." And we're tired of white men in comedy. And more than that, we're tired of straight white men in comedy. Now, I tell you, in that moment, I've never felt more pride in my entire life. I came out to my parents in that moment. I was going to call my grandma and say, "Grandma, sit down, I got some great news for you." But I still felt like I stepped on the night, so I thought that this evening I would focus my set on the topics at hand, that being the straights, the whites, and the men. So I'll start with the straights. Shout out to the straight people. What's up? Yeah. Yeah, cheer for yourselves. Shout out to my girlfriend. The fun thing about being bisexual is when I tell my new gay friends that I have a girlfriend, they react like some of you just did. My girlfriend? But I thought, okay. But I am bisexual. I don't tell a lot of people that I'm bisexual, so don't tell anyone to let me leave this room. But it's kind of fun not telling anyone I have a lot of bisexual friends, and with each and every one of them at some point, my bisexual friends will come up to me and they'll say, "Ben, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like I can talk to you. I just feel like I can open up to you." And I say, "I don't know what that is, that's so strange." And having a girlfriend and being bisexual is fun because, when we're walking down the street, an old couple might pass us and all they'll think is, "That guy's got some fun hair." Interesting guy. Alright, we'll move on to white. I saw Wakanda Forever recently. Yeah. And I know I'm white because as I watched the movie, it was like I was attending a lecture. I was taking notes, nodding along, scratching my chin. Ooh, yeah, wow. Colonizer, I gotta remember this stuff. This is important. Men, moving on to men. There's a lot to say about men. I mean, we make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of us out there. The bar's pretty low lately. I was watching this cooking video, this cooking instructional video, and the host, the guy, he said,
these are all the things you shouldn't do cooking, and for the example, I will use everything that my wife does. Literally, she was in the video, and he was like, this is how she cuts vegetables, this is how you should cut vegetables. I was like, what's going on right now? And she was there, her hands only. I never saw her face, I don't know if she exists. But men, we make a lot of mistakes, and as a man, you try not to be like other men, but the men who are not like other men, they also kind of suck, so you try to be not like the men who are not like other men. You don't want to be like the first man, so like a man who's not like the other man, like the other man. And I crashed the ladies' night for comedy, so I'm not doing a good job of this at all. See those tour groups on campus? If you were at my last set, you know that I like watching people, but I hate being watched, so I hate those tour groups on campus. And I was a freshman engineer in Armstrong building, and you got that big glass classroom. Terrible idea for a classroom. It's wonderful for all those high school students so they can fog up the glass when they stare at you. I feel like I'm in a zoo enclosure, I'm trying to do sign language, tell them I'm human too. Let me know. But I hate the Purdue dads who are on the tour groups, because they're all the same. They're all wearing their hat and their jeans. Maybe they got a sport coat on. They seem real excited, more excited than the kid is. You know, they're pointing things out all the time. They you know, they're like, oh, I used to go to this building. I know that one. Or, that's a new one. They must have built something since I've been here 30 years ago. See that guy's hair? That's so cool. Before I end my set, I want to give one last shout out to my girlfriend. It's her anniversary tonight.
Yeah!
She's not from around here, so I was showing her around campus the first time she came, and I was like, oh, that's Armstrong building. I had class in that building, and oh, that's a new building since I've been here. And that guy's got some weird hair, doesn't he? That's my time. Thanks, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing tonight? I love asking that question like people are gonna yell out, I want to kill myself. No, I do hope you're all doing doing well tonight. And I hope that me degrading myself up on the stage will make you guys even better. So real quick, as Ben just was talking about, I was the other guy that accidentally crashed women's comedy night. And I just wanted to apologize real quick and explain. I did not get my first look at the flyer until later that night, and I would have realized it was Ladies Comedy Night if I looked at the poster and saw the giant pink walking uterus on it. So I would just like to apologize and ask you all to please not stone me. And after I did this, it really got me thinking of all the really embarrassing things I've done throughout my life. Notably that time in 3rd grade when I moved school districts and then I pretended to be Italian, accent and all, so people would think I was some cool, troubled gay exchange student or something, which was really fun for me. So as you can tell, I definitely was not super cool in high school. And so part of not being cool is having a lot of friends and not being really popular. And one of the things about not being popular is you don't have anybody to introduce you to like alcohol in high school, which is a little problematic because you kind of go crazy in college. And so I didn't have anybody to like give me alcohol, like provide it to me, because they're all losers. And I really came up with a very creative solution to my problem. Did you guys know that vanilla extract is 70 proof? Because I do. So I had a lot of free time to do whatever I wanted, and what I wanted to do was walk around my area, like it's the mall, just stroll around aimlessly. And one day I was in the baking section, and I was like, vanilla extract, that probably tastes delicious, right? And so I go and I look at the ingredients, and it says vanilla bean, makes sense. Second one was 35% alcohol for preservation. This is too good to be true. So I bought it was $15. And then I went home, waited for the weekend. Saturday rolls around, I chug it, and that was the first time I ever got drunk. I can never smell Vanilla Bean Noel body spray again. Yeah, so the next day, I liked it so much that the next day I went back and I got 4 more bottles. And that is a true story of why I'm in AA today. No, I'm not in AA, but I did drink vanilla extract in high school, which is pretty embarrassing. Plus side though, I did not have to wear deodorant for the next 2 years of high school because I smelled great. And unfortunately, my embarrassing moments did not end in high school either. They have followed me here to college, which really sucks. But I remember this one time I was in my freshman comm class, Comm 217, and I was giving this final presentation end of the semester, and I get about halfway through. And the thing about me is I'm diagnosed with ADHD, which means I tend to space out and lose my train of thought a lot. And the thing is about presentations, well, I'm pretty good at public speaking. I mean, I'm up here on stage. But I was in the middle of this presentation, and I stopped because I don't know what to say next. And then I continue to not know what to say next. So I'm just staring very silently at everybody. And this goes on for what felt like minutes, and I could have handled this situation in a few ways. I could have just continued on with my presentation. Doesn't matter. No one would remember. I could have even apologized, but I chose the worst and most awkward way of handling this I could possibly think of. I verbatim go, "Oh, that's it." Oh, that's it? What type of gay ass shit is that? What is wrong with me? It's so embarrassing. So if you're ever feeling a little bit embarrassed or uncomfortable in your skin, just remember, there is someone who has got it worse, and that someone is me. Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? Woo! Yeah! Y'all go to that Mitch Fest today? That was like the lamest event I've ever been to in my life. The big thing was that they were announcing that they're renaming State Street. It's going to be Mitch Daniels Boulevard now. I think that's great. It's going to fit right in with all the other streets named after former presidents, like William University and David State, and John Purdue, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. I got a job at Jimmy John's not too long ago. I'm a delivery driver. Freaky fast, right? It's a fun excuse to speed on my deliveries. So I got pulled over the other day going 90 to 25. And the cop pulls up beside me and he gets out and he says, "Do you know why I pulled you over today, sir?" No. "You were going a little fast there, weren't you?" "Yeah, it's my job." And would that be the Jimmy John's chopper you've got? "Yeah, if you've got a problem with my speed, you can go take it up with Jimmy. We're entering a recession and I need money, I need tips." And then he shot me 8 times in the chest. So if you want to help pay for my medical bills, you can go buy a brand new All-American Beefy Crunch from Jimmy John's for limited time only. Being a driver's fun, it's fun. I delivered an order to the Black Engineer Society recently. Walking into that room, I felt like how I imagine they feel during their engineering classes. It's like I belong here, I promise. Yeah, I get it. Who invited the help, right? I'm not here to steal anything. Like, okay, you guys are pulling away on this one. You're not recognizing that there's a long history of prejudice between engineers and delivery drivers. Maybe if you were a little more woke. I delivered this one order to this older woman. She paid me in handfuls of change. Most people would be pissed off. Not me. I had an awesome fucking night at the strip club. One of my change was just flicking coins at strippers the whole night. They were trying to dodge them, but I was too fast. Some guys like to make it rain, I like to make it hail. I caused $80,000 in damage to their windows with that hail. I don't think their insurance is going to cover that. But I went up to the bar, I went for a drink, told the bartender to keep the change. He goes, it's all change. I was working the register a couple nights ago. This couple came in, and they're paying for their food, and the girl says to me, wow, you have a really nice mustache. I'm not making this up. And the guy got real defensive. He had this tiny little pencil mustache that was thin and patchy, and he gave her a look. And for the entire time they were eating their meal, he was fighting with her about it. Why do you have to say that to that guy? It's not that much better than mine. His mustache is so large, it's making me feel insecure about my mustache. That's what I imagine that guy felt like. And I am kind of a jerk, so I wanted to mess with them. As they were walking out, I said, don't worry, man, just give it a couple of months, you'll be fine. I like cool cars. I think expensive cars are cool. Anybody here like cars? Yeah. That's like 2 people. All right. This is going to go well. I like browsing car auction websites, but there's this one car auction site that you can leave comments on the auctions. Some of these comments are kind of weird because they would be perfectly at home under a porn video. It's like, wow, what a beautiful Italian. Like, geez, my whole family could fit inside that. She's had some modifications. Nice build, not a huge fan of black. All right. That one's not me, that's the commenters. I'll have you know I love black cars. I've been Jacob Stout, thank you guys.
Thank God. Okay. I'm not an idiot all the time, I swear. So I've had an interesting day today. So first off, I kind of walked out of the house. It was sprinkling a little bit, and you know what I said? I said, it's going to be fine. It's not going to rain. And then it rained on my way home. It was wetter than the Magic Mike opening night. So, yeah, there was that. And then on my way here, my bus was like incredibly late. Because I probably shouldn't make light of this, but there was like a pretty bad car crash, and then my driver was just running around in circles trying to figure out the best way to get here. And I literally ran all the way here. It was great. I had a whole thing prepared for this thing, I swear. As you all know, I'm relatively new to this whole thing. This is probably like, what, my 4th performance so far? Yeah. I'm sure by now you all know how incredibly bisexual I am. I mean, if you couldn't just tell by looking at me. I look like I'm gearing up for the Maine winter. I'm your grandpa about to give you a bunch of butterscotch candies. It's great. But I figured, since this is the last open mic of the season, I should really start talking about the things that all bisexuals are required to talk about. I call them the 3 Ds. I call them dating apps, dick, and daddy issues. And since I haven't talked about my dad yet, that's what we're going to start with today. So my dad, his name's Ryan. I love Ryan very much, but he really doesn't know how to be a dad. And I say that in the nicest way possible. But I can see his midlife crisis kind of unfolding before his eyes. Because just the other day, he got a haircut, and I looked at him and was immediately reminded of Jimmy Neutron. And then I looked closer and saw the sheen, and I realized I could crack an egg on his head. Yeah. Honestly, now that I think about it, he might actually be Jimmy Neutron, who's blasting away from all those goddamn child support payments. Blasting away from weekends with me and my sister. Like I said, I love my dad. He's a great guy. Just more of a friend than he is a dad. And I've had to get him out of a few messes on occasion. There's one that comes to mind. In approximately 2012, I was around 8 years old. Yeah, let me sit down in the therapy chair for this. So I was 8 years old, and we were living in Warsaw at the time. And I was like I was like hanging out with my dad and my sister, because you know, it was his weekend with him. And we never got to spend time with him. So of course he decided to go out and do lawn work and leave me and my sister inside the house. And all was going well up until I heard a scream outside, and I was like, there's no way that could have been my dad. That sounded like Shirley Temple. And then I go outside to check if Shirley Temple really was outside of my house. No, it was my dad clutching the back of his head with a towel. And I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Why do you have a towel outside? He was like, I need you to go inside the house and call 911. And I'm like, whatever do you mean, Papa? And then he pulls the towel away from the back of his head, and I just see it start dripping with blood. And at this point, I'm wondering, one, what the hell happened, and two, if I could be blamed for this. Because in the grand scheme of things, when shit usually happens, it's my fault. So I'm looking at this blood-soaked towel on the ground, and my dad just like running around trying to find his cell phone, and I'm like, shit, okay, well this is great, I should probably go and try and find that phone too. And I go back inside the house where my dad is running around with, like a chicken with his head cut off, and my sister's crying, my dad's screaming, and there's blood all over the new white carpet. I'm thinking, this is gonna look pretty bad, and in my 8-year-old mind, I'm like, I'm gonna help, I'm gonna go find that phone. Yeah, I didn't end up finding it in time, but my sister did. And then I realized she didn't know what 911 was. I'm like coaching her, trying to figure out how to call an ambulance, and she's like, what do I do? What number do I call? I'm like, press 911. And she's like, but how do I do that? I'm like, just give me the phone. Yeah. But thankfully my dad was okay. Turns out he had gotten into a bit of a scuffle with the weed whacker. And if you've never been around a weed whacker before, because God knows I haven't until that day, when it's not working, you typically don't want to put it anywhere near your head. He got so mad, he ended up throwing it, and it turned on just as it was going over his head. You can imagine how that ended up. So about 15 stitches later and a minor dent in the back of his head, we now have a funny story to talk about for all of you clusterfucks. You know, I am a little bit insecure about this whole being new to the comedy thing. Then I look at some of you. And then I realize, I'm not as stupid as I think I am. No offense, no offense. But yeah, I do have some incredibly stupid stories to tell, but I'm afraid I don't have time for any of them today, so thank you.
So this is my first time doing stand-up. I've done engineering classes here, obviously. And one of the biggest things that you talk about is standards. Now standards are great for like CAD and stuff, and I love them. But then I learned to hate standards, and I realized that my body is not really standard. And by that I mean people create products based off of a certain standard that is not this. So some of those different things are that my first car, which is still the car that I drive currently, is a coupe. Now I thought this was a genius idea because the hood comes off the coupe. It's a convertible. But the brim of the windshield is right where my vision is. So if I want to see the green light, I look like a fucking old man, just turn green, down here. One of the other things is that throughout most of my life, I've had a twin bed, which doesn't really fit my body, and my leg will dangle off the bed, just waiting for the midnight monster to take a little snack out of my foot. One of the other things is on planes. Planes are fantastic because my knee is all the way up to my chest. See how flexible I am? Just because I'm so used to that motion. The great part about it is if we crash into the ocean, I'm already cannonball ready. Now, one of the nice things about Purdue is we have the co-rec. There's massage chairs in the co-rec, which comes really handy when you're done working out and all. But if you set it to shoulders and upper back, it only hits here for me. And so I can't put my arms in the little slots. I have to go like this to have any kind of motion on my back. And it pushes my tits together. And it's real attractive for all the elderly men in the gym. The vibrations don't help it either. Now, some of the nice things about being pretty tall is that, if you can't tell, I'm balding, which comes not because of genetics or stress. It's purely based off of roofing. I just scrape my head, chandeliers and roofs, trying to get into a room, and it's terrible. But there are some benefits with being tall. One of those benefits is that this campus is fairly large, but I can walk from one end of campus in like 8 really big steps through the entire campus. You all can't do that. I have to buy my shoes offline because they stopped carrying 13s when I was 13. One of the things that is really nice is if I'm with a crowd of people, like if I'm with friends at a function, they can tell where I am in the crowd. It's like that meerkat scene in Life of Pi where everyone's just... and then lastly is that elderly people love me. Why is that? Whenever I'm at the store, can you get the stuff on the top shelf? Sure, here you go. If they are ever mean to me or prudent, I will push that product further back. No top ramen for you today, Susan. Okay, bye.
And now for our final performance tonight, El Presidente himself, E.J. Grundler!
Yeah? You're saying that wasn't very presidential. That was more wedding. Are you trying to marry me, Kenny? Is this your last shot out? You're like, you know what? I better shoot my shot here. I'll never get one again. You sly bastard. So, I've hit a bit of a conundrum in life recently. I've hit a bit of a conundrum because I've realized I would make a fantastic uncle. If you're not looking at me right now and thinking, wow, that's uncle material, you need more uncles. But there's an issue. There's a problem. I am an only child. Yeah, my parents decided that another child wouldn't fix their relationship. So this is all on me. So I need to get married, and I've never been very good at dating, but I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to get into the dating world. And I went on this one date with this woman named Beth. Beth was a nice young woman. We'd spoken a few times prior. She was tangible. And there's another thing I'm forgetting about her. What the fuck was it? She wore dog collars. That's right. You know, as in dog collars. And what was especially entertaining to me is that Beth is not the name of a woman that wears dog collars. Beth is the name of a woman that lives in northeastern Kansas with her 4 children. Also, let's get this straight, audience. These were not chokers. These were very blatantly dog collars. No choker should have a loop in the back that tightens it to your neck, okay? So our plan for the day we were going to go on, we were going to go to the Chick-fil-A after the class we shared. I came prepared. I had cologne on and everything. Nautica. I couldn't tell if she was prepared, honestly. Sure, her collar was bedazzled and had a bow tie, but she smelled like bacon strips. I don't know if that was on purpose or just the scent of the day. And you know, you may be thinking, EJ, Jesus, this is a lot of red flags you're seeing. And you know what I say to that? I say it's hard to see red flags when we're both colorblind. And you know, if you're thinking that I need to get out of this, that I need to stop, I need to go elsewhere and seek other options, I say this to you. You clearly do not have what it takes to be an uncle. Because sometimes in the pursuit of unclehood, you need to make sacrifices, you need to take chances. Sometimes you need to consider a long-term relationship with the final boss of band kids. So, we go to Chick-fil-A, along with 40% of the student population. We get our meals, mine a spicy chicken sandwich, hers kibble. We both get Coke. And we're talking, and audience, I'm gonna say it, I've had worse first dates. Beth had interests, she had passions, hobbies, and in my teenage years, I dated a woman who at 16 had a 3rd grade speaking level. So honestly, Beth is going above and beyond. So we're talking, we're eating, we're enjoying our time together. She finishes up before me, begs for a little bit of food. I throw her one of the fucked up fries. I finish up, and then we play some fetch, but that's mostly my fault. I can't throw, and I can't catch for shit either, so. But I walk her back to her place. I thought the day went well, you know? I thought it went well. Yeah? Yeah, Jacob, Jackson, the J clan all in a row. Walk her back to her place, we exchange information, and I shoot her a message a day later. I'm like, hey, I had a great time. Are you interested in doing something similar? An audience, I hate to break your heart in this story, but up to this day, I have been left unread. That's right, she ghosted me, or went to a farm upstate. But she approached me in class later in the week that we went out on the date, and she was like, hey, listen, I'm not in the spot for a relationship right now, and aside from the fact that you kept on trying to stiff my ass throughout the entire date, I thought you were a pretty cool guy. I would just like to stay friends. That's right, folks, you heard it here first. I landed in the man's best friend zone. Thank you, I've been EJ Brenda. Have a nice night!
Alright, thank you everyone very much for coming out. We are PSUCC, and this is our final open mic of the semester. But follow us on Instagram, it's Purdue Suck.
Yep.
Yeah, at Purdue Suck. So remember that. And we have one more show next week, or next Friday.
There you go. You got it.
Yep. Alright, get out of here. Bye.
Yeah.